Hey, what's up everybody? It's the Green Onion here, back with some more diecast stuff, and today we have a restoration video for you today, and this is this Johnny Lightning, what is this, a 1969 Olds 442 that I found at a thrift store in the 10-cent grab-em bin, and we're going to try to restore this one back to its former glory, because he has definitely been pretty battered and beat up and played with over the years. So I already took the model apart before that. Here is the window is actually riveted in there, so I'm going to have to drill that out again. But otherwise, here's the interior of it. It has an opening hood, which is still good. I'm not going to bother doing anything with that. And then the engine in there, which I might detail as well. Then we have the interior plastic, which actually looks pretty good for this car. The spoiler off the back is missing, but I'm probably just going to fill that in with some modeling putty. Then we have the rear lights, which are detailed. And a lot of paint loss on this one. So that's the body. Moving on to the base here. We have this blue interior plastic for some reason. I don't know why they chose blue. It's kind of a weird color. So that'll probably be getting resprayed black. And it's got like a little, I don't know what that is. Looks like a booger or something on the back there. Moving on to the base. Those wheels are definitely going to go into the trash, which is a shame because they're pretty cool wheels, but some of them are missing their hubcaps or the middle part, and the axles are definitely bent. Something just fell out of that one. Yep. And they're all pretty battered up, so. And then it says in the base, Johnny Lightning, 1969, Olds 442. Copyright 1994. I don't know what year this car is from. That's the casting date when this casting was made in 1994. So I don't know. This car could be from any time. It could be the original Old 442 or it could be something else. So there's the base, and then it also has this little front grille piece, which actually survived pretty well. Headlights are still intact. And I'll just get an extra detail into. So we have all the pieces of the car here. Next thing I'm going to do is drill out that rivet for the windshield, and then remove the wheels, and then I'm going to start spraying down the paint. Alright, for stripping the paint, I'm going to be using this Citrus Strip stuff. It's pretty much just citrus-based paint stripper. I don't think the hood is going to stay up for this, but I'm just going to hit it with that, and pretty much good. Oh, are we out? Let's give that another try. I think that was almost out. There we go. Just coat the car with it, and we'll just let that sit for a good long time. Alright, back over with the base. Since this is held in by metal tabs here, I'm going to be using the Dremel with the little sphere cutter bit. I don't really want to use the big hefty duty cutting wheel because that will probably cut through a lot of the bumper and stuff like that. It's a pretty large cutting wheel. So we're just going to use this little sphere cutting bit and just cut these wheels right off. Alright, we got rid of those nasty old wheels, and then I just took the cutting wheel here and I cut a little path for a new axle to fit in there, because when I was grinding before, it kind of mushed the metal together, so then I just had to carve out a path for the new axles to fit. So other than that, this thing just needs a good shining with the wire wheel. But for now, we're going to go and clean up the interior plastic. And look at that, the booger just came right off. I don't know what... Yeah, it just came right off. I'm not sure really what that was, but we're going to throw this in the bottle of warm water anyway. Here's the interior plastic. It does have like a small crack right there or something like that. I think that's a crack and not a scratch, so I'm not really sure. But it looks pretty good otherwise. And then the front grille also looks pretty good. So we're going to drop the parts in the warm water bath. We have the interior plastic. We have the grille and the windshield. Then I just have this little sponge brush thing, so just stir them around in there. I'm gonna let them soak in there for a little while. You can see, just let them soak for a little while to get the dirt and everything off of them. And then after that, I'm just gonna clean them up with that little brush if there's still dirt on them or anything like that, and we'll dry them off and be done with that. All right, so I'm just gonna be washing the interior pieces here. So this brush is just full of the warm water. If there's any dirt or anything, you can just scrub them up, you know, get them all nice and good. Clean up any of that dirt. You can see there, I think that drop of water was kind of dirty. So there was some dirt and stuff clinging around, but I can really get at it with this paintbrush. Part of the paintbrush actually just broke off there, but it's a pretty nice little tool, and it absorbs water pretty easy. Oh. Whoops, I'm sorry about that. I knocked over the camera. But anyway, we can just keep going here. Then we have the grill piece here. And the interior plastic as well. And then we'll just dry them off. Alright, well, the interior is drying off and the body is in the paint, or getting the paint stripped off of it. I'm going to turn my attention to the base, and all I'm going to be doing is hitting it with the wire wheel, shining it up, making it look very nice. I have to replace the wire wheel after this one. Alright, as you can see, the paint is coming right off the body there. Nice and clean on there. So that's the body for now. Then the base, I finished wire wheeling that. I got that nice and polished, so that's pretty much good to go. Nothing else I really want to do to that. So I'll be ready to go back in the car. And the interior plastic windshield as well. I'm not really going to do anything with this either. It's in fairly decent shape. It can go back on as it is. Same with this thing. I might just repaint to add some details, but other than that, it's ready to go back in the car. So with the base, we have these little holes. I think where there was a spoiler on this car, and it broke off during play or something else, so I don't have that spoiler anymore. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this modeling putty and just kind of glop it in there, fill up the holes like that. You know, just a general glob. I'm going to stuff it in there, and then it'll all get sanded down at the end of the day. So just stuff it in there on both sides. Doesn't matter how thick you put it in there, just as long as these holes are covered. Whoops. And that'll be good, and I can just sand that down then, and those holes will be good once that dries. So that's how the body's going to be looking. Pretty good. And then the next step here, what we can do next is this interior plastic color, in my opinion, is kind of ugly. I don't know why they chose this bright blue plastic for it. So we're going to take it over and respray it in black. Alright, so I'm going to repaint this interior in this gloss black, just basic paint. So just hit it lightly with this and oh, we're running out of paint, but pretty much so it's going to look like here. I think it looks much better than the blue. Alright, all I think I'm going to do to this grill piece is I'm just going to add a liquid chrome and these little grill slats right here. So I'm just going to do that off camera so I don't mess it up, but I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So that's what that's going to look like right there. As you can see, I just added a little extra detail around the edge of the grill. Just gave it a little extra character to it. Alright, so I put on a layer of just flat white primer just to see where I was at with filling in those holes. And there's a little bit of discrepancy there, so I went ahead and sanded it down again and filled it in again. And we're going to hit it with another coat of primer to see how it turns out and if I can move on to paint. Alright, as you can see with the primer on there, on the back, those little problem areas, you can kind of faintly see an outline of like a circle. That's just because it's a little bit different of a color down there. It's like a little bit darker down there compared to the rest of the car, so you can kind of see it. But overall, it looks pretty smooth back there. It feels smooth. So it's time to move on to the paint. So after the coat, another coat of silver and then the clear coat, this car is looking good as new and ready to go back together here. I painted in some rear taillight details. As you can see, this silver turned out very, very nice. Look at that. Some nice shine on there. And then I did mask off the engine bay and I painted that black and I added a couple of little details in there. The hood doesn't want to stay up, but I did detail that. So this thing is ready to go back together. So all that was left to do was just to put the car back together. I found a new set of wheels for this thing, as you can see there. I think they fit it pretty well. They're off of a Maisto something or other. I don't remember the exact car, but it was some sort of Maisto car. But all in all, I think this restoration turned out pretty good for this Johnny Lightning Pontiac GT. I mean, that's not a Pontiac GTO. This is an Oldsmobile 442. I think the restoration turned out pretty great. Actually, I'm liking this restoration. It's one of my favorite ones, actually. And the hood opens up still. Details in the engine. So here's a picture of what it looked like before again. As you can see, the wheels are falling off of the thing, as is the paint. The hubcaps are missing and all that. And now what it looks like now. This nice, beautiful, shiny looking Johnny Lightning here. These nice looking wheels, a fresh coat of silver paint. Details such as the grille. I resprayed the interior black. I filled in the holes that would have had that little mini spoiler, so I decided not to have that on this car. And overall, I think this thing turned out a successful restoration. I used the engine, as you can see there. Spray painted black with some chrome details in there. And on the original Johnny Lightning casting, the engine was just a bare metal piece, so that was just an added detail. The windscreen or windshield is in good condition in this car, so nothing was done to that. The base, nothing was done either except just a nice polish. And then of course the wheels and everything like that. But yeah, I decided to paint it the original color that this car was, and I think it turned out pretty good. I also added some details to the grille, but those little gray headlights are from Johnny Lightning as is. So overall, I think this turned out to be a pretty good restoration, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.